All right. So now I'm going to do our slideshow. Monica, I'm going to trust the entry sections all to you, okay? And I'm going to start at the beginning. There we go. Now we should do it. There you go. See, everything works somehow. Okay. So, oops. Yes, you can become a reviewer, a proposal reviewer, not just for our conference, even though this is, of course, mainly geared to the New York State TESOL conference. My name is Jasmin Cowin, and I'm the conference chair for 2021 for the New York State TESOL conference. And this is a webinar. So, our 51st annual conference, Looking Forward, Educational Empowerment, Transformative Education. That is our theme, and we are going to have a hybrid conference in November. And we want you to think about becoming a reviewer. Now, we have on November 4th already scheduled a virtual day. And then we are hoping to be face to face, but we will announce that later. So when you become a reviewer, you will become a reviewer for our conference, hopefully. And what you see here on the umbrella, and I hope that everybody can see this, you have the different strands of our proposals here. There's one missing, it's called advocacy, but I will get into that in a moment. So these are the different strands that you would have an opportunity to review for, and you certainly will have a choice. So if your specialty is technology enhanced language learning, then that would be something that you would let the proposal chair know that that is your specialty. Or perhaps you are more of a higher ed person, so you would let the proposal chair know about that. Okay, next. So we are looking for volunteers to read and score proposals for the 51st annual conference. And if your participation today sort of indicates that you are interested in supporting this process. So we will send out emails, and then we would like to know if you're really interested in participating and what you would feel most equipped to reviewing using a rubric. The rubric will be there will be a training on the rubric, and the rubric will be done together with our proposal chair. So we don't have that rubric right now, but you will have rubrics to score with. So adult education, advocacy, applied linguistics, bilingual ed, etc., etc. So those will be the different strands, and those will be the different types of proposals. Now, the review process is going to occur asynchronously via email and Google Drive between mid-June and July 2021, okay? And it would be expected that you participate using the tools and instructions that we provide. So if you know that between mid-June and July, you're going to go on your much anticipated round the world trip, it's probably not your best choice to become a reviewer. However, if you are available and you are willing to do it, we really, really need you, because New York State TESOL is a membership-driven organization, and without you, we can't do it, okay? Once we hear back from you and have our process outlined, we will reach out directly with more instructions for the process. So what's the purpose of review? So the primary purpose of your review, which you're not going to be the only person, each paper will be reviewed by 2 people. So it's double blind. You won't see the name of the person that you are reviewing to avoid any awkwardness, okay? And indeed, you're not supposed to share these reviews with anyone. These are for your eyes only. So the primary purpose of your review is to evaluate the quality of the submission and provide a recommendation on whether the paper or submission or poster would make an interesting New York State TESOL conference presentation so that a high quality conference program for our members can be developed. So that means that, you know, you might see a fabulous paper on artificial intelligence that's really awesome, but but then when you reflect on it, you say, but we are a teacher organization for teaching English as a second language. You know, is this really applicable for our candidates? So a couple of other things. Does the abstract clearly convey the meaning of the paper or the submission? And is the content of the paper or poster or whatever a valuable contribution to the professional field of TESOL? Those are some of the questions that you will have to ask yourself. So is the subject material timely, and will it have a significant New York State TESOL interest? So just imagine, you know, were you to go to the conference, would this be a workshop or presentation that you think might be very interesting to our members? So is the background information adequately covered and referenced? That's a really important part. Even for a poster, you know, we might want to see, we want to see, you know, where these references, where the material comes from, you know. Is the submission well organized and the material clearly presented? And then if we have figures and tables, are they of quality and clarity? And do they enhance the understanding of the information being presented? Are the conclusions following logically from the text? And are they supported by the information that's presented? So that's another question when you take a look at these submissions. And the big idea here is, if it is unclear what the paper or the poster presentation, what the theme is or what the topic is, if you ask yourself, I don't know what it means, believe me, nobody else will know either. Very important, we are to our students a model of English language. So it is especially important for our presentations that the text is edited to acceptable standards like proper grammar, spelling, and that it is readable, you know, so that our members can really get the best out of it, and that when we have it posted on our website, that it represents our organization and the research of whoever submits it in a long-term favorable view. Now, the use of references, symbols, and units should be consistent throughout the paper or submission. And last but not least, the material is not presented for commercial or private advantage, and it's free of advertising, speculation, or statements advocating special interests, meaning this isn't the sales pitch, all right? Because that's not what we are doing. We are doing research, or we're doing workshops for our members, and most of our members are teachers of English as a second language. So for commercial presentations, we have a separate and different way of commercial people entering into our conference. And if Monica has time later on, she can say a couple of words. I am not as much involved in that. So what might you see? Okay, so this is something that you might see. So let's say that you say, okay, I am available. I know how to use Google. I really want to be helpful. I'm going to do this for higher ed, or I'm going to do this for elementary, or I'm going to do this for advocacy. So this is my special thing. So then you're going to get a blind review. Okay. So the blind review is not going to tell you the name of the person. Okay. So it's going to give you the presentation type, the presentation title, a little summary, a presentation abstract, and the intended audience. And it will have a proposal number, and the proposal number always is at the top of the paper. But because the paper will be scrubbed, there won't be any identifying information. It will let you know the strand, and then the assigned reader, first name, last name, and then there will be a rubric link, all right? So you will be linked to a rubric. And then You are not necessarily denying it, but because there will be 2 readers, okay? But depending on the rubric score, depending on how you scored this submission, the presentation will be either approved or denied, or sometimes we write, we write back to the presenter, and perhaps we'll ask them to redo a section. That's a different item. But between your reading and there will be a second reader, those rubrics will be taken a look at, and then this is just to make sure that if one person rates it very highly and the second reader rates it very low, then we will have a third reader. Maybe Monica and I will take a look at it personally, because then there is a discrepancy. But if you score pretty much within a few points, then this is a review then that seems to agree on the point average. So tools to help you prep the blind proposals. So the first thing that you need to do, of course, is you have to calculate the word counts, and you don't have to count words, of course. You do this for the title, abstract, and summary. So if the sections exceed the word counts, you highlight them in red. You know how to do that, and you can send an email to the proposal chair, because we need to use these small blurbs, and they eventually become our program. So they all have to be of pretty much equal length. So each proposal to review needs 2 readers. Now, we are going to have a very firm 2-week turnaround time for scorers. Why? Because by the time that we come to the proposal readings, the people who have submitted the proposals will be very anxious to hear back. And also we want to conclude the process, because Monica and the team and we need to start planning for the conference. We need to group these presenters when they are accepted into groups. We need to hopefully assign them to rooms. There's a whole other part of the conference. It's the proposal reading will enable us to have workshops and seminars and all such things. But then once we know who is presenting, we need to contact everyone. We need to onboard them. We have to get our program ready, all of that. And that's why we need you for those 2 weeks to really focus, if you're going to do it, to get the scoring done. Now, it's very important that you think about this as almost like a sacred space. Don't share the materials. Try to be as emotionally uninvolved as you can, okay? Because this is people's professional life, and they put a lot of work into it. And so we want to make sure that what people submit on our end gets the respect and the loving kindness that it deserves, because going out and writing a proposal for many people is a lot of extra work on top of what they're doing in their daily lives, which is serving our ENL students. So, are there any questions? And if you have bigger questions or you don't want to ask them here, you can email me to vpconference@newyorkteasel.org. So that's my little presentation, and I am telling you, you can become a proposal reviewer, and we would love to have you involved in our organization in this process as someone who contributes to our conference and participates. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmin. And also, what's the expression? Many hands make light work. This is another example where the more volunteers we have, the fewer proposals each person has to take on. So that's why we really want to get, we want to get as many reviewers as possible so that we, because maybe you would only have to, I can't commit to a number right now, but let's say you had to just review 5 proposals. It's really not a daunting task. And it actually is really enjoyable. Like I've sat outside, my kids are playing in the yard, and I sit outside and get a drink and just relax and go through the proposals and read each one. And luckily, Jasmine, I will say that we've had fantastic submissions over the years. So, I don't want people to think that you're going to get a lot of proposals that are like off the charts, illegible and difficult to understand. No, we get very professional submissions. And so it's been, luckily for us, I think it's usually like almost like a breeze to just go through it, because really all you're looking for is, word count. Does it apply to our conference? Does it make sense for our, for our audience? And also, like, if anyone's ever been to a conference before, which I imagine everyone has, like you said, Jasmine, would you want to attend this session? We don't want to have things on our program that no one's going to be interested in. So, and I've talked to people when I was at a conference on Saturday trying to drum up, encourage people to submit a proposal. And I was saying that when you're submitting, you should be thinking, is this something that people are going to want to come to? Because that's, why would we want to have something otherwise? So,
right. I mean, and one of the things is like, we're going to have a virtual day, and then we are planning, we are really like hoping for a face-to-face. And that, with all of our regions, so, we have many different regions, and I'm just going to pull that up once more here. So we have Binghamton, Syracuse, Buffalo, the Capital District, Hudson Valley, Long Island, and New York City. And our members are not only in higher ed, they are really practitioners and teachers. So our advocacy and our workshops are geared towards hands-on things that our teachers can walk on. They can say, wow, this was really useful because I'm going to go and I'm going to try X the moment that I walk into or this, I didn't know this research that it was so important. I'm going to keep that in mind for when I plan for my students. It's less about, educational philosophy, while I think educational philosophy is very important. I will tell you guys, I have an EDD from Teachers College, and I was basically spoon-fed Dewey and Gardner until my eyes popped out. So now I'm in my first classroom, and guess what? None of these students cared about Dewey and Gardner. But they did care that, like, I was trying to lecture to them, and that did not go. The first day was, yes, it had moments that clearly needed some work on my part. So do you have lots of work on my part? So does anyone have any questions?
So Lauren said in the chat, is it safe to assume that if you are a proposal reviewer, you cannot submit a proposal? You can submit a proposal. You just wouldn't be reviewing your own proposal. But no. Yes, you can submit.
You can be both. Okay. You can be both. So the one thing I will say is, once I became a proposal reviewer and I started submitting my own proposals, and now I am a conference chair, the questions for the submission, right? Don't put your name on the first page. There's a reason why you don't put your name on the first page, because for a double-blind review, right? We are not going to give your paper with your name attached to it. The people who will read, the peer reviewers who will read your proposal, will not know it is you.
And if by some chance you opened up the proposal submission and it was your own, you would just, of course, say, oh, I accidentally was given my own, I send that back. So, it's just the professionalism aspect that, we all just make the right judgment calls in that area. But yes, please submit a proposal and please volunteer to be a reviewer. That would be fabulous to do both.
And don't forget, you can submit more than one proposal. So because there's a virtual aspect and then there is hopefully a face-to-face aspect. So let's say that you have a poster ready to go. That doesn't mean that you can't have another proposal accepted. Maybe that's a workshop, right? I mean, you can have 2 proposals accepted. As a matter of fact, often we ask if you're willing to present twice, right, Monica?
Yes, and I think this year, that may be especially important, because if you're willing to present twice, once virtually and once in person, you'll get different audiences that way. So we should do an informal poll right here, Jasmine. So put in the chat, if you don't mind, would you be willing to attend our in-person days? Do you think you'd feel comfortable coming to our in-person conference days? Let us know in the chat. We're just trying to, keep reaching out to people and asking people how they're feeling about that as we get closer and closer to November, and hopefully more and more people are getting vaccinated. So would you feel comfortable presenting or attending our in-person days? We're just, we just keep asking. And I really think, I don't know about anyone else, I would pay double the normal conference fee to go to a conference at this point. I really would love to be networking and be around people. I miss it so much.
But, I mean, we have spent a lot of time, on virtual, on screens and such.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So here's a question. So November 4th is the virtual day, and November 5 and 6 would be the in-person days. And what we are hoping for is, that when we listen to Biden and Fauci and, the rollout of the vaccine, that hopefully by July, we'll have a significant amount of our population vaccinated, and also that school is going to go back to in-person September 2021, that would be really a sign that we are approaching a new place of perhaps not normalcy, but post-COVID normalcy. And it's important, we've discussed this at length in our team meetings. It's important for us to be leaders. And I think this is leadership. So if we have to wear masks, but we can meet in person, we'll just wear the masks.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, and we would of course follow all safety protocols, and in conjunction with the hotel, when we have it in person, making sure that we are doing everything we can to go above and beyond in terms of safety regulations.
Rosa, forward seeing you in person. You're coming from San Antonio, Texas. So
Rosa's going to join us from Texas.
Yes, so
I am. I
hope you do.
Hello.
That's fantastic.
So we have someone raising her hand, and that would be the chair of the TESOL department at the Graduate School of Education of Toro College. That would be the chair, Olga de Jesus. And please, Dr. de Jesus.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I was excited when I saw the invite and was quick to want to jump on it. I really would support an in-person. I know that, a lot of us are still with some concerns, and I'm glad to hear that Monica is reassuring the protocol and the safety, following the guidelines. I would even recommend possibly a pre-registration session to keep the number count of people that can attend in person, so that depending on what the hotel capacity is, that you keep it at, I don't know what it is now, 50% or 25%, whatever that figure is, but it could be on a first served basis, the first 50 people that can want to attend in person and the rest live. But I think that Jasmin said something very key. We have to be positive, and we have to set an example in our communities, and certainly to our education field, that, we're still available, we're still in support, we're still wanting to set a presence certainly in the community, and show that we are still producing, and we're still engaging, and we're still wanting to put our best foot forward in support of the P to 12 children that are, as we know, are being impacted the most. Our community of Ls and Ls with disabilities are dear in my heart, and they are the ones suffering the most during this pandemic crisis because of the lack of equity and access, the lack of opportunities for them to understand, the virtual reality of learning virtually. And so for the community to see that our organization is making a stand and saying, we're here, we're still engaged, we're still discussing, we're still trying to find solutions, we're still trying to find remedies in the midst of the pandemic, I think is going to speak volume of our strength and our resistance. So I would certainly would attend with my mask, bedazzle mask if I have one. And, I know that we can do this.
Well, I mean, that's why I think we chose this conference theme, looking forward, educational empowerment and transformative education, because this is what it's all about. We have looked a lot. Especially within our apartments. And looking forward is just, a new dawn is rising. I am by nature an optimist. And for me, every day is a great adventure. So it's a natural thing for me. So, but what I wanted to also say is that our conference team, we understand that things can change quickly and we are ready to move on a dime. So, the future is not an open book to us either. And one of the things that I also wanted to point out, all of our New York State TESOL members, I hope that you know that we are running a logo contest, right, Monica?
Yes, we would love to have our New York State Ls enter our logo contest, because right now, we have, Jasmin has created the beautiful logo that we've been using for the conference with the umbrella, showing all of our special interest groups in all our regions. But one of the traditions of New York State TESOL is that we also run a student contest where we choose a student logo and adopt that logo to represent our conference as well on our program. And it actually carries a $150 cash prize. It's so beautiful to see a child, because sometimes it is literally an elementary school child who wins all the way to a college age student. The conference I ran in 2019, it was an L high school student from Long Island, and it was like I was working with a professional when I emailed her and congratulated her, and I asked her if she could send it as a PDF, and she was like, "Oh, Miss Baker, thank you so much." Like, she was so professional, and I really felt like this girl is destined to become a graphic design artist. Like, I felt like this was she needed to empower her to say, wow, my logo got chosen. I can do this as a career. So it's just a fabulous opportunity.
That logo will go on everything. The moment the logo is selected, it will go. My umbrella will go away, and that will be it. That will be the logo for the conference. Now, Kennedy, Kennedy, you have a question about the logo contest. What is your question?
Yes. So I think a few years ago, one of the college students at New Paltz that I tutored won some contest, and I think her art was featured on like the title page of the conference. So I'm wondering, for the logo contest, is it like, should it be, a full page, or should it be like a little icon thing? Like, what should it be?
We have, Monica, we have a whole submission page and how it's done, right?
Yes, I'm gonna link that in the chat in a moment. But
I read it over, but I was still confused. Like, I know that they could use a lot of different mediums and everything, as long as it could transfer into a scannable.
Yeah, so I don't think we specify the exact size. Usually the submissions we get are, fit on a regular standard quote unquote screen or piece of paper, not teeny tiny, not like the size of like an emblem, more like an illustration or a graphic design that fits a screen, and then we can resize it to be to however we need it. we can resize. It'll be like the cover of our program, but then we can also shrink it to make it, you know, even like an email, you know, how you get your email signature, you know, we'll often put that below our email signature as the default signature in our email. So as long as it's something that we can resize, I would just recommend that if students are using a lot of text in their logo, that sometimes is problematic when you resize things. That
Okay.
the graphic part, the design part, the colors, the images are more important than too many words, which sometimes can take away from what it is.
And we are looking for, you know, we have, so the students of our E&L teachers who are members, right? Those
Yes.
are the students who are eligible. And we have an exciting new initiative at Toro College. We are onboarding every single teacher candidate in our TESOL department into the New York State TESOL organization, because it's the lifelong learning, the habits of that are laid during our studies. So this was an initiative that was embraced by my chair, and I'm glad that my president Olga, that my president Monica was equally embracing this opportunity. But I think it's beautiful to involve our students and give them a voice in our organization, because that's what equity actually means.
Does anyone else have any questions about proposals, getting involved? Jasmine, if someone is interested now in becoming a proposal reviewer, should they email Carmen or proposals to
I think what I would like to do is, because Carmen is incredibly busy, that
email you?
that everybody emails me first, and I will ask 3 or 4 very important questions, you know, what's the strand and so on, so that for Carmen, that she will get a more rendered, you know, a list to help her, because her work is going to be very intense around the proposal. So I will do more the administrative support for her, because we know that she's, you know, she's doing 10 things and she's fabulous, but you know, it works so very.
Oh yeah, of course. So Jasmine, do you want to put your email up one more time on the screen for anyone who now is interested? I hope everyone here will sign on to be a proposal reviewer, and also to submit your own proposal. So there's Jasmine's email. Reach out if you're
I'm going to put it in the chat so you can copy that right there. And there you go. So you can email me your questions, and I'm delighted to answer them. It's just, it would be very helpful if you put in your subject line proposal question. This way I know what your email is about, because if there are 50 emails and I know, okay, these are all about proposals, then I can put them together, read them together, and then like see if there's a common question, and perhaps, you know, answer it expeditiously. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's perfect. And I'm going to put the link for proposals. If you're interested in submitting a proposal, give me one moment. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. And I will also put the logo contest information in the chat, so everyone has everything. But if you lose the link, just go to New York State TESOL, nystesol.org, and everything is.
So here are the strands that you can put your proposals in: adult education, advocacy, applied linguistics, bilingual education, elementary education, higher education, secondary, special, teacher education, and teaching English internationally, and technology integration. And those are also the strands that we are going to look for proposal reviewers. So if you have a specialty and it's applied linguistics, please let us know. This way, for the proposals that are on the strand applied linguistics, that we give you the right proposals to review, because we want to work from your strength, right? It doesn't make any sense if you are in special education to send you a proposal review about teaching English internationally, because you're going to take a look at it, and first of all, it's not what your passion is most likely and what your background is.
Oh, and one more thing I would mention, if anyone is a special education expert, we are always in need. That's an area where we're always trying to make sure we find appropriate proposal reviewers. So if you happen to have special education background certification, that's always an area of need for that, that category.
And I want you to know that, so let's say that you're special education with a subspecialty of bilingual education, right? Then, you know, please, you know, you are a rare breed. We want you. We also want your proposals. We need your proposals. We need bilingual education with a special look at special needs, at special talent children's, okay? So very important to us. All right, Shirley, if you email it to me, then I will be able to put that together, okay? So if there are no more questions, I'm going to stop sharing.
And I put, everyone, I put the link for the call for proposals in the chat, and I also put the link with the information about the student logo contest in the chat. So save both of those links and feel free to share with anyone in your network who also may be interested.
So I wanted to say thank you from the New York State TESOL organization and from the complete TESOL conference team for taking the time and showing us that our membership is not only interested, but you are willing to make time in your busy days after a whole day of, for many of us, like being on a screen all day long, and yet here you are and you were on the screen yet once more. We deeply appreciate it, and we need you to become active members of our organization so that we can grow and support our ELS the way we want to.
Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this, Jasmine, and thank you everyone for attending this evening. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.